How's it going? Dr. Jordan here, and today we are going to talk about how there's two things that show who you really are. The first one is your patience when you have nothing, and number two is your attitude when you have everything that you want. Because there's often just this transition that a lot of people go through that they might be the kindest person in the world and all of a sudden they make it and they turn into a jerk. Well, that second part is who they actually were, but they were kind of giving a false impression with the first. Or some people are super nice and generous and benevolent and everything else what they have, and then they go through this trying time where they might lose some money or something happens, and then all of a sudden they like clam up and they are angry and miserable and they don't want to give anything away anymore because they feel like they don't have anything, and they're not patient with people. They're rough and they're gruff and they uh, are like that miserable Scrooge. And really, there's a saying out there that, I heard it from Dan Nicholson, that the billionaires were eccentric before they were billionaires. And basically, is they were the same before they made their money. And that I want you to just think about. It's like, you know, I'm this way now, but if I did make it or if I did lose everything, how would I be? Because that then will be able to show you who you really are, or not even who you really are, but something that could be inside you that you might want to deal with. Because we want to be congruent, we want to make sure that our lives are truthful. We want to make sure that we are not just putting on a false pretense, a false air around other people. And we really want to make sure that we are living our best life, but living it according to who we want to be and what we want to be. And so, if we want to be benevolent and we want to be kind and generous and things like that, well, even if you don't feel like you have a whole lot, you can find ways of doing that without necessarily having to give away a bunch of money. Um, if you're like, you know what, I don't really want to do a whole lot, but I just want to have what I have and live a quiet life and not do a whole lot and uh, just like keep to myself. Well, you could do that even if you're uh, kind of down and out, or if you have a bunch. You don't necessarily have to do one way or another, but make sure that you are congruent with who you want to be, even if you don't have a whole lot, or even if you have everything. Don't let that change you. Don't let that change your inner self, your soul, from who you are, because too often we see that happening, that they were a nice and kind person and then all of a sudden they win the lottery and then they're gone, like. And we see that in a lot of movies, like uh, rom-coms, let's say romantic comedies, where the guy all of a sudden makes it and the girl's like, you're not who I thought you were. Well, that's because they really weren't being truthful for themselves and they were putting on a false pretense when they felt like they didn't have anything. And then all of a sudden they just went off on the deep end. Or the other way around is they felt like they had to show this because all of a sudden they had money. And that's not the case. And I keep saying money because money seems to be the main one, but it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be time, energy. It could be a successful career. Like whenever you're working your way up, you could be one way, nice and kind, and all your superiors just love you. And then all of a sudden you get to that position and you're a total jerk to the people below you. Well, that's not really how you should be, Um, you were putting on a false pretense on your way up, and then your true self shows whenever you finally get there. So we don't want to live that way. We want to make sure that we are congruent, and whenever we are down and out, if we don't have what we necessarily want, just see how you react to that, And then, once you start to make it, once you start to get what you want, how do you act whenever you have that stuff? And let's make sure that both of those are congruent, both of those are the same, and you're going to live a much better life, much happier life, because you're not trying to um, be somebody that you're not. Okay. I hope that's motivating. It sounds kind of depressing if you think about it, but it's really not. I have the best in my heart for you. If you need anything, please reach out. I'll talk to you later.